I believe that everyone in here can win. And I believe everybody can actually win. And I truly believe that so many people struggle with the self-belief to take the risk to go after the thing they said they've always wanted. It is very difficult in today's society and ecosystem to become somebody you've never been before, because there's so many reasons not to, and so many things showing you that you shouldn't, that you should be scared, you should stop, you should hold back, you shouldn't go to that thing that you've always wanted. My name is Claudio, and I am in the business of dealing belief. I do that as a husband, I do it as a father, I do it as a leader, I do it as an author, I do it as a podcaster, a YouTuber. But ultimately, the two biggest things that I do to deliver belief to people is I coach high-performing CEOs, and I founded a nonprofit that puts shoes on underprivileged children throughout the country. Over the last 4 years, we've delivered over 8,000 pairs of shoes that we hand wrap, handwrite cards, and we deliver that new pair of shoes feeling. You know what that feeling like? Jump higher, run faster, become more than you ever imagined possible. And the amount of people that struggle with self-belief and believing that they can actually do the thing that their heart wants. I used to be one of those people. This is a picture from 2010 of me and my wife. That human lacked self-belief, broken in a lot of ways, bankrupt in a lot of ways, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I was overweight, I was making bad decisions, I was not the person I wanted to be, but I didn't know how to get out of it. You ever been in one of those seasons where you're just stuck in what status quo is, and you're like, well, this is just life. This is just what I get. This is just who I am. This is just what I can be. And it stops you from taking action. And the truth is, belief that was dealt to me turned me into this person 15 years later. That journey was hard. It wasn't easy, but it wouldn't have been possible without belief. What I'm going to talk about here in a second is a formula that I believe everybody can take control of to go out and deal belief to somebody that needs it. I deal with two wild dichotomies of the economic scale. I deal with families and children who can't afford a new pair of shoes. Imagine that. You were like, which Jordans do I wear today? And I'm dealing with kids who have never had a pair of shoes that fit, new, name brand. I'll never forget one of my favorite stories from a Champion Shoes. We had a high school woman. This was a woman. She wore a men's 14 double wide shoe, and she lived in a tent in the hills of Kentucky. Belief for her was, how do I get anything? You can't just walk into a normal shoe store and buy 14 double wide shoes, nor can you afford them. And the thought of what that woman went through was incredible and powerful, of what just the gift of a pair of shoes and a handwritten card, because we put a handwritten card in every pair of shoes that says, we believe you are capable. Go be a champion. And the amount of people that I've run into that have never heard that, never been given that hope. And the opposite end of that dichotomy, I coach high-performing CEOs for a living. These are the millionaires, the guys that have everything, that appear on the outside as if they've accomplished the pinnacle of success, who walk around every day lacking self-belief. The interesting dichotomy of these two sides of the equation is the children and the families in poverty don't get to see hope. They don't get to see things. They don't get the information to know that there's more out there. They just believe that they're stuck in this generational poverty, and this is just what we have. On the contrary, these high performers with enough resources to do whatever they want deal with scarcity on a regular basis because of how social media gives us a highlight reel. I've been the person who doesn't have what they want. Not proud of their body, not proud of their stuff, the car you don't like, the house you don't like, the relationships you don't like. The problem is not just social media, but marketing in general in our ecosystem teaches us that last year's version of what you have isn't good enough anymore. The Tide commercials that make us feel like we're supposed to be smiling while folding laundry. I don't know about you. I've never smiled folding laundry. The perfect vacations, the family photos, the fitness people, like, we are taught on a regular basis that who we are and what we have isn't enough. So why would we? Why would we risk it? Why would we go out? Why would we try to take the step off the ledge, not knowing what's going to happen, not knowing what's coming next, with so many things telling us we're not enough? So I built a formula. Belief and hope requires evidence. Evidence is the key factor in my experience and in my journey of what differentiates those who have it and those that don't. There's two types of evidence, in my opinion. There's belief from others. I am confident every person in this room can think of somebody who believed in them for no reason other than they just wanted to. And maybe it was the coach, maybe it was the teacher, maybe it was the aunt, the uncle, the grandparent, your parents, a friend, or a complete stranger. You ever have somebody that you didn't know look at you in your eyes with extreme authenticity and say, man, you got something, man. You got an edge, you got something different, and you believed it, maybe for the first time in your whole life. I think everybody has that person. And it requires belief in self. And belief in self is one of the hardest things to deliver. I don't know about you, but I know it is 1,000,000 times easier to believe in somebody else than to believe in yourself. To make a commitment to somebody else and follow through on it. I don't want to let them down, but we let ourselves down every day in our decision making. One of the biggest and strongest, and I believe only ways to build self-belief is to do what you said you were going to do for you. Your evidence. When you lay your head down at night, how did you show up for that day based on what your definition of winning looked like? We all have the ability to do both. And I promise you, you are capable of more than you ever imagined possible. 15 years ago, I was an alcoholic, overweight, broken human, and I had a vision of being on a TED stage. And I'm not special. I am a gifted communicator because I have practiced this thing every day for the last 20 years. But I'm not special. I'm not unique. I'm a normal human being who decided to take the belief from others, build belief in myself, and do it consistently over time, and that builds hope. And when you have hope, and you have an ability to say, I see it, I want it, and I know I can get it, you can accomplish anything you want. I tell the people I work with all the time, I can help you accomplish anything you want as soon as you can tell me what that is. I can't tell you what winning looks like to you. I can't tell you what successful relationships or your body or your finances or your car or your house or your vacations or whatever it is. But we all have the ability to start at the beginning of the formula. I deal in the business of belief by simply believing more in people than they believe in themselves. And it has changed lives. I'm somebody who needed somebody else to believe in me first before I could say, yeah, I can climb out of this hole. And if you do it over a long enough period of time and the evidence builds and the evidence builds and the evidence builds, I don't want to be cliche, but you can change the world. And nobody in here is a loser. You might not have the evidence to believe that you're winning right now, but when you're more likely to follow through on a commitment for somebody else than you are for yourself, you're letting yourself down. You're stealing the evidence that you can be trusted. You can trust you. And when you can trust you, what you can build yourself into can change everything. But I want to challenge you today. Everybody in this room right now is dealing with something. Everybody in this room right now is battling something. You don't know what that eye contact can do. You don't know what that, hey, I see you, keep going, can do. I challenge you to not miss an opportunity to believe in somebody for no other reason than they deserve it. And if you start dealing belief, I promise you it'll show back up. I promise you it'll change your life. Just because you're not winning right now doesn't mean that you can't change someone else's life. There's a lot of roles in all of our lives. I said it, husband, father, leader, athlete, podcaster, YouTuber, author. I promise you I'm not winning in all of those categories at any given time. But my belief in people helps people change the world. I would challenge you to become a dealer of belief. Thank you, guys.